Now listen. Now we not gonna do this. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna talk about Pokemon, and y'all can take it as see fit because you're supposed to take it as see fit. So let's say this: we got the Pokemon World Championship confirmed for California for both next year and 2026, right? Anaheim 2025, San Francisco 2026. Let me say this with the utmost respect. I find it perplexing that in a situation where fans around the world who choose to stand out for these games, choose to maintain the game's popularity, have no patience. And it's not really a real big issue for me. Like, because growing up, I grew up during the time period of, obviously the Coro era, where you would have people make fake leaks, fake Pokemon pages that would relatively get waves on the internet, and you'd be having people saying, "Oh, this is fake," or "This looks real," or they commentate on how the Pokemon looks so official that it couldn't be real, but then come into a time period around Sun and Moon where the Coro leaks ended up being real, right? So obviously enter the data miners who, effectively bring out subsequently the best of the community because you have people that are so dedicated to, the game itself that you have people go out of their way to try and, create rumors, create fake leaks and stuff like that. But what y'all have to understand is that, especially this year, from my assumption, and collectively, this is just an observation. You can call it in wishful thinking, really. What made Pokemon stand out for so long is not that, there's always something new about the game or there's a new there's new context and new content with, the series as a whole. It's the fact that you can you can slap an old picture on a new frame, right? If you get a picture, an old picture, and put it on a brand new frame that you just bought, is the picture brand new or is it still old? It's still old, regardless how you want to look at it. But so let me break this down for y'all. The concept of Pokemon as the tentatively titled, because you honestly haven't heard, I really haven't seen people really say gotta catch them all in a long time. Like it's been a minute since I've seen people say gotta catch them all type stuff. But that's not. It's essentially we got at least another. Honestly, I predict we got at least another 7 years of Pokemon. At least another 7 years because I say that because not only do we have confirmation that no proof now that Pokemon is going to continue to relatively about 2030 for that matter. And, you know, Pokemon is relatively almost at its 30-year mark. And, you know, what is crazy about that whole situation is that most people don't even realize this. But the fact that we got two scheduled dates for the World Championship premeditatedly don't even assume this because now it's considered fact, and I look at it as fact at this point. This is this might be an unbiased opinion for that, and I'm trying to figure out how to phrase it correctly. It is possible that Legends ZA is going to have some form of online connectivity. It's very possible. It is very possible, and I'm not even trying to be biased when I say that. And I'm gonna tell y'all why I'm saying that. Because we know for a fact that Legend ZA is coming out next year. We have a release window for Legend ZA, and the World Championship is in Anaheim in August of next year. So my assumption is that the same amount of time that, because like I said, I'm not gonna rule out that, um, I'm not gonna rule out that Legend ZA is going to come out before March. I'm not gonna rule that out, but given the circumstances, prediction wise, I imagine we'll probably get something around November, if anything between November and December, because usually so let me say it like this: what Nintendo's doing currently versus what they're planning for, right? So recently, y'all saw the news about the Nintendo Museum that's opening in October. They're going to spend a lot of time promoting that, and what the whole product of it is that Nintendo is basically hosting a museum that effectively has everything that Nintendo has been for the last near 100 years, nearly 50 years, I'm sorry, 50 or 60 years. So when you really think about it, Nintendo is going to obviously showcase their most popular products. This includes Mario, Sonic, like Pokemon, like every high selling Nintendo product is going to be on display at that museum. So if you do decide to go see that museum in Kyoto, Japan, be prepared, because not only are they going to be promoting the shit out of that, they're going to be promoting practically everything that goes on in there. So Nintendo is mad busy now. Like, Nintendo is mad busy. The revealing 2 years of Pokemon championships, the Nintendo Museum about to drop, Pokemon Legends ZA scheduled for sometime next year. It's a lot going on. There's a lot of truth to that. But me personally, I want to sit there and say this with respect, that most people most people do not want to, like, be patient when it comes to Pokemon. Like, we just got a reveal for, trainer Pokemon cards coming back. We got more Pokemon for Pokemon Unite, which the first two is questionable. Psyduck, I don't understand why they added Psyduck. I'm not. Anyway, so it's the fact that Nintendo incorporating changes to the game. Like, a lot of people were not really all that excited when Pokemon Unite was announced, but when Pokemon Unite got shown and started, that's when people was like, okay, so we can do this. This is something new. We can really do this. However, most people try to argue this concept, right? Is Pokemon falling off? Is Pokemon going to really, stand out, or continue to stand out, I should say? But the answer is it's really quite simple. Pokemon going to last at least another 7 years. I continue to say that. I continue to say that. And I don't want to sound too disrespectful when I say this, but Pokemon fans don't have patience at all. None at all. There's, like, literally no form of patience in any of this. There's, like, legit no patience. Like, okay, for example, so I decided to look at my Xbox for a second. The first trailer for Legends Arceus, I think this is right. Let me see. So, fucking hate this. I hate ads.
This is a tale from a long, long time ago.
Okay, so first time Pokemon Legends Arceus was talked about, it says here on Eurogamer, it came out It was talked about back in February 2021, right? Back up. I'm gonna backtrack real quick. And again, the UK Nintendo website dropped another. So Nintendo dropped another trailer, which came out in August of 2020, which came out in August of 2021. So that right there. So between February and August, mind you, that's like 7 months. So that right there, and then let's look it back. I'm gonna finally. So, mind you, Pokemon Legends Arceus release date was supposed to come out. So originally, and I bet y'all didn't notice. So Legends Arceus was actually supposed to come out in December of that year of 2021, but the initial release got pushed back because there were some technical issues that needed to be worked out. Which a lot of you have probably seen that there were a few bugs in Legends Arceus, but it wasn't like really, it wasn't much. So, like I said, and again, how I know we're going to be getting, the what we're asking for versus what we're not asking for is some things that you guys need to understand. So I'll say it like this. People are asking for Generation 10, right? Respectfully, that's a pretty decent confirmation considering Pokemon Worlds, the next Pokemon Worlds is both in 2025, is in 25 and 26. So considering the efforts right there, if we do get any other Pokemon game besides Legends ZA during 2025, I'm being theoretical here. Let's say, for example, we have confirmation. For example, this is confirmed 100% that Legends ZA is basically the next spinoff in the series, right? A lot of people were expecting a Black and White remake or at bare minimum Black and White 3. That's fine, totally fine. However, take into consideration this. Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, and Pokemon Go all consistently have been bringing support for Pokemon that were featured prominently in Black and White, both the new and the old ones, right? All those games, those three games right there, featured Black and White Pokemon. Not even trying to be funny. I will not rule it out that a Black and White remake is not coming. I'm not going to rule that out because when you really think about the list that Pokemon has, it's simply this. First, they've already remade every single game. Okay, every DS game, every Pokemon game that came before the Nintendo DS has already been remade. Okay, we had Fire Red and Leaf Green, Heart Gold, Soul Silver. We've gone down the trilogy games. We are not going down that road again. And I'm telling you this because the concept that Nintendo has, I'm sorry, the mindset that Nintendo has, they don't want to hear their fans complain about there wasn't an amount of this or it wasn't an amount of that. And some of you even, for some of you that have seen my true thoughts on Scarlet and Violet, is one of those opinions. Like, it feels unfinished. It feels like the Pokemon included are not standing out like they're supposed to. I'm gonna be honest. Like, I liked Pokemon Scarlet, but that concept of time travel and no, I did not like that. So again, we got a reveal for Legends Arceus in February. Then they talked about it again in August. And then they dropped the release date trailer for it, which came out. Yeah, the release date was revealed in August as well. So, mind you, It's a remake of the Diamond and Pearl games, which, again, not that big an issue. But here's the kicker, though. We got Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Pearl literally 2 months before we got Legends Arceus. So mind you, to me it was weird that Nintendo would push out two different games, and I'm including Diamond and Pearl as one game, considering the the Sinnoh region is just one thing. So three Sinnoh games in 1 year, two Sinnoh games within 2 months of each other, right? And obviously people had very mixed to negative response to the chibi style in Pokemon Brilliant and Shining. But the Nintendo has a tendency to do this where when it comes to a new game getting ready to come out, or it's the next generation, they usually put out a game in between that just to test out new features to see if they can get away with carrying it over to the next game, which again is totally fine because realistically speaking, like Nintendo paid attention enough to the response of you know Breath of the Wild. Obviously, we got Breath of the Wild 2. So that right there is another excuse. So let's look at. I'm gonna paint this picture for y'all real quick. These are the games. These are the games that are possible. We have a Black and White remake. We have a Sun and Moon remake, or the latter. We have a DS, a virtual console compilation on the Switch. And here's the crazy part. Why all of that makes sense is because Nintendo is prepping the reveal for the second Switch. So if anything, the new Switch will probably be out way before the 2026 World Championship. And I say that extremely because I have sources that say that game is going to come out before the end of 2026. So the likelihood that between July and October of next year, we're definitely going to see that Switch beforehand. We're going to see that Switch, and I guarantee you the Switch 2 will probably be out by Christmas of next year. Respectfully. And then you're going to have everybody going crazy, going gaga, because like I said, Pokemon has been on every Nintendo console. Every single one of them. And I'm not talking mainline games. Like Pokemon in general has been on every console. Like literally. Battle Revolution was on the Nintendo Wii. Pokken Tournament was on the Wii U. Like, and again, they went as far as to incorporate Pokken Tournament on this into the Pokemon esports. The same thing they did with Unite. Because at the end of the day, Nintendo knows what they're doing to a certain degree. They're not going to consistently respond to their fans' outcry of more content because they've already planned for it. You know what I'm saying? They have people that work for this. They have people that monitor the community as a whole. So back to what I was saying. We're going to either get a Black and White remake, a Sun and Moon remake, or at the bare minimum, get a virtual console compilation. But there's one other thing. Generation X. Generation X. Now, like I said before in the very beginning of this live, Pokemon ZA is going to come out in 2025. No problems. So the chances of it coming out before the championship of next year, let's say it's 50-50. Let's say it's 50-50. I wouldn't hold my breath for it though. But at the same given, Pokemon Gen X, that'll be out. That'll be out by next year. Respectfully. Because I can guarantee you one thing. The features that they tested in Scarlet and Violet, like the picnic areas and stuff like that, they're gonna bring that back. They're going to completely erase breeding Pokemon. Like they're going to completely erase breeding Pokemon the traditional way. And frankly, I'm okay with that. Because I'm gonna be honest, like it's funny to admit this, but I have not one time hatched an egg in Pokemon Scarlet or Violet. I'm just not gonna do it because number one, there's still to me is that's probably Scarlet and Violet's most unredeeming quality right there. That's one of them right there. Not the bugs, not the lackluster amount of Pokemon, the bogus legendaries that they have. No, it's the fact that you put Pokemon centers in the open world, which is great because that means I don't if I get knocked out, I don't gotta like travel all the way across the map again. It's the fact that all the features that you unlock for your unlock in Scarlet and Violet are all in the DLC. All the additional Pokemon are in the DLC. Not even because of the fact that you're just testing features. Like I said, this, and again, the receipts are here for you guys. Sword and Shield was the first Pokemon game ever to get DLC. They were testing that. They were testing to see if they could continue with that. What did they turn around and do? They put it in Scarlet and Violet. Then we got two DLCs, just like in Sword and Shield. We got two DLCs for them. We got two DLCs for Scarlet and Violet. So when you really think about it, if Gen X comes out, because honestly, what is it? Yeah, it's almost been 3 years. It'll be 3 years next year. It'll be 3 years next year when Scarlet and Violet turns 3 next year. So I say it like this for most people because what really bothers me is that everybody's so hyped for more Pokemon content, but y'all not understanding like at the end of the day, we all gonna play this shit anyway. Like respectfully, we gonna play this shit anyway. There's no denying anything of that nature. There's no denying that people are not gonna sit there and you know play that shit. Like I may not like certain Pokemon games, like, but I'm gonna be real. I would love if Nintendo put up a digital. I would no. Let me say this. Let me say this respectfully, biased. Let me say this. I would appreciate if Pokemon would put some more effort in a few places. I'm gonna say this. Why I want people to understand why why the Pokemon company needs to take their time because frankly, this is a point of where you can say what you want and do what you want with your product. That is wholesale true. However, Pokemon Home is not getting the amount of love and respect that it was obviously promoted to get. And I say this because you can't get mystical Pokemon through trading, which is weird because they kind of taken out the concept of Pokemon as a whole. So you can't have variation Pokemon like the Ash Hat Pikachu. You can have that, but you can't take it into the other games, which is fine. Like I said, it's over 1,000 Pokemon at this point. I knew for a fact when Sword and Shield came out that the national dex was not going to be a thing. I knew that. I knew before Scarlet and Violet. I knew before Scarlet and Violet, before Sword and Shield, that the national dex was not going to last too long. Because even my older cousin who put me on the Pokemon when I was a preteen, when he told me like Pokemon had a competitive side, you know what I'm saying? Like outside of just playing the story game, I was like, if Pokemon really lasts past like say 10 years, if Pokemon had lasted, we both said this, if Pokemon lasted another 10 years, and I was about like 10, he was like 14 at the time. If Pokemon lasts another 10 years, then they probably drop the national Pokedex. Because when you really think about it, ladies and gentlemen, it's not to address the elephant in the room with hostility, but over 1,000 Pokemon. Over 1,000 Pokemon. And even in most people, and even in the community of Pokemon players that complain, here's the thing. The same amount of Pokemon players that complain are the same ones that sit there, which I agree with this one. Every generation has every generation after X and Y have had less than 100 Pokemon, which bothers the out of me, bro. That bothers me. When I say that bothers me, bro, like that bothers me to an extreme degree because I refuse to sit back. I refuse to sit back and let y'all continue to do this type of shit because I'm just like, there's no way. I didn't even think I would live to see a thousand plus Pokemon. Like, if I'm gonna be honest, like, even if we do just get virtual console DS games, which for the love of fuck, like we had Pokemon Red, Green, Yellow, Gold, and Silver all released virtual console, but we never got any other games, never any other virtual Pokemon games on the Switch. None. Like, none. Like, I'm not even trying to be funny. Like, there's no validated reason why Pokemon stiffed us like that. Because then you tell us, oh, we're going to keep Pokemon Bank open for y'all until further notice to continue the process. But then turn around and not give us, like, first of all, me as a person, right? I would tell the studio head, let's do this differently, right? Let's make the Pokemon connectivity, because we all know the Nintendo eShop for the Wii U and the 3DS is shut down. That's gone forever. We're done. It's over with. But I would tell them straightforward, why don't we release Virtual Console? Why don't we step that up? Because when you really think about it, if I go on the Nintendo eShop right now, I can get both Scarlet and Violet. I can get both Sword and Shield. Both of them. I can get all four of those games with the DLCs included for like a lump sum of $100, right? Virtual Console right here. Okay, you can get Sun and Moon. We'll throw in a shiny Pokemon. Let's just do this. Let's just think about this for a second. Virtual Console Pokemon, right? Let's say we say Sun and Moon, because Sun and Moon really set the measure. Because unlike the rest of the games, Sun and Moon and Black and White have not been remade. So we're just going to leave it at that. We're going to give you Sun and Moon Virtual Console. Both games. You can get one or both. Either one. We'll even throw in a shiny Pokemon just because. And because Sun and Moon specifically showcase not only new Pokemon, but Dusk Form Lycanroc, which you only could get in Ultra Sun and Moon via an event. So mind you, you have Pokemon Sun, Moon, Ultra Sun, and Ultra Moon. That's 4 games right there. Put those on Virtual Console. That right there. Okay. We don't need to do the whole chibi thing again. We don't need to go down the Shining Diamond and Brilliant Pearl situation again. Because in all honesty, the fact that game sold 2 million copies, I can tell you from experience, I can tell you from a general standpoint that game was made for the kids. And it's not a bad thing. I'm not saying that is a bad thing. But Pokemon Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl was primarily aimed for the younger generation of games. And the younger generation of players wanted that. Like when they added a competitive mode to Let's Go Eevee and Pikachu, but at the same given token, they took away the Pokemon having abilities, which is, again, remaking the first 150 for like the 3rd time in a row. Like, just keep it a buck. We've had Pokemon Red, Blue, Green, Yellow, then turn around and had Fire Red and Leaf Green, then turn around again and had Let's Go Eevee and Let's Go Pikachu. So we've had 8 games, respectfully, we've had 8 games representing the Kanto region. And not one time did anybody sit back and actually think like, hold up, why do they keep remaking Kanto? Because that's what made them the most money. Pokemon was not even supposed to go past Generation 2. It was the card sales and the games that pushed the narrative for Pokemon to go past Generation 2. Now, some people will say, oh, the anime is what really carried the series. No, it actually is not. It's not. Because when you really think about it, the gold and silver era of Pokemon, specifically Gen 2, set the trend for Ash to catch one, two, if not all three starters. Because remember in Kanto, he caught all three. He didn't evolve two of them. One of them didn't want to evolve. The other one just stayed base form. So when you really think about it, and it wasn't until I think like a good 10 years later that Ash's Cyndaquil even evolved, for that matter. Like in Gen 2, the only Pokemon of Ash's team to evolve was Bayleaf. He already had a fully evolved shiny Pokemon, for that matter. That's when we started doing shiny Pokemon. Real shit. Then Black and White, he caught all three, only evolved one of the starters. Now, mind you, he caught all three. Now, when you really think about it, this is another trend that Pokemon set, using the anime to try and build the popularity higher for the next games to come out, right? So usually, Ash starts his new region before the next games come out. So relatively, we will get Ash like a good 20, 30 episodes into the new show before the new games drop. Or sometimes it would be vice versa. Or like when you really think about it, like we got Sword and Shield before Pokemon Journeys. We got Sword and Shield way before Pokemon Journeys. And Ash did not catch not one starter. Not one. In fact, just off the revelation of the fact, when I thought about it and I had to really think about it hard, when they brought Mega Evolution back, I knew either it was going to be an X and Y remake or a Legends X and Y game. And crazy enough, we got Legends ZA reveal right after that. And it's been over a year since Ash left the series. So really think about it on a deeper, more not even conflicting, more of a in a perfect world, right? Because my thought was it was going to be a situation where Ash's Pokemon spend all the time with, Professor Oak. They play with each other, this, that, and the third. Like the way they set up the way they set up the series as a whole. Yeah, I see it like this. I imagine Ash coming home to a motherfucking, at least out of his first six. Not counting the Pokemon he released or whatever have you. I really, really expected to see most of Ash's Pokemon to have evolved by this point. And I say that because although a lot of Ash's Pokemon are completely evolved and there's no other level above that, I kind of was disappointed that Ash left the series with not really any closure. Like, yes, he closed off the chapter with going to see the Pokemon he released and all that other stuff, which again is weird, but you didn't have the chance that you had many a time to go after, multiple occasions, call these Pokemon back. Obviously, how many times Charizard has come back into the series only to just body a frontier brain. I mean, let's be realistic. Charizard ran the fade with an Articuno, knowing he had both an advantage and a disadvantage at the same given. So it was like Ash, being the trainer that he is, never went through a Sword and Shield game by himself. He didn't do that, which again pissed off a lot of people. Then we had the Sun and Moon anime, which the worst art style in Pokemon. But yet again, here's the crazy part. We got Ash Greninja and we got Dustform Lycanroc. We got Dustform Lycanroc in Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. Way before Ultra Sun and Moon came out, we got Dustform Lycanroc. Which means, guess what? They tried it out. They test the waters. Next thing you know, the fans love Dustform. Let's put it in. Okay? There you go. What they did next, we got Ash Greninja, X and Y beforehand. So, and guess what they did? We did not get Ash Greninja and X and Y. We did not at all. But what they did do was turn around and incorporate Ash Greninja and Sun and Moon. So mind you, even when Sun and Moon was on its runtime on TV, we had Ashman Ninja and Duskull Lycanroc. I remember seeing people actually use both Pokemon just for the clout, just for clout. And it's not abruptly clear to a lot of people that, like, for example, the whole point of this discussion is the concept of where Pokemon is going to head to in the future, right? And I said this in the very beginning of this video. Pokemon going to be around for at least another 7 years, because Scarlet and Violet's about to be 3 years old either this or next year. So guess what? I can tell you right now, it's going to be funny to see this. Why it's going to be funny? Because I'm going to tell you right now. Because I'm gonna give you guys this throwback real quick. I participated in the Pokemon World Championship in 2024. In 2014. I participated in 2014. I was there when Junichi Masuda revealed Mega Slowbro. I was there. I have pictures for that. I was there to see that reveal. Okay? I participated at Worlds, and I seen everything. And it's not the first time that fans get mad at Nintendo for not putting out a trailer or anything like that. Oh, we didn't get any Pokemon news. Yes, the fuck we did. I don't know what you mean. Everybody that says we didn't get any, that complains we didn't get any decent Pokemon news at Worlds, what did you think they were going to really do? Did you really think that they were going to go out of their way to showcase Legend ZA at the biggest tournament at the time? No, they were not going to do that. That's bad for business. No, they were not going to do that. What they did was showcase the following. They gave us 2 years worth of World Championships. They gave us new Pokemon that are coming out this year for Pokemon Unite, as well as, guess what? Are y'all ready? Because I know some of y'all are not that smart. So if some of y'all are not that smart and haven't put 2 and 2 together, let me help you put 2 and 2 together. Pokemon Pocket on your phone, right? Are you following me? Because again, I'm dumbing it down for y'all. I'm not trying to be funny. I'm not trying to be disrespectful either. I'm trying to dumb this down for you. We have Pokemon Go at the championships. We have Pokemon Unite. We have Pokemon Tournament. What's the next step? Pokemon TCG on your phone, which comes out, wait for it, October 30th this year. So what did y'all think they were going to do? What did you think in your head? What made you think they was going to show Legend ZA at Worlds? That's bad for business, because this is not an event about Pokemon Legend ZA. And I know I know some of y'all are gonna say, oh, it's Pokemon though. Everything is about Pokemon win at the championships. No, it's not, because it's about business. It's business. You don't understand business, you don't understand the concept. When you're promoting something that large of caliber, like when we used to talk about E3 and what to expect at E3, we don't have E3 anymore. DC Fandom, we don't have that anymore. Gamescom, we still have that. Bethesda, we still have that. But at the same given token, they're focused on promotion right now, because Nintendo is about to get into its physical year for Nintendo starts in March. So let's do this again. Pokemon Championships in 2025 and 2026. The Nintendo Museum, October 2nd. Pokemon TCG, Pokemon Pocket TCG, October 30th. Pokemon Legends ZA, scheduled for 2025. Pokemon Generation X, 2025. And I'm going to stand on that. And I'm going to leave it at that. Because, again, what some of y'all are missing is because they didn't just do this. And I'm not going to be shocked if it happens either. Because I know for a fact Legends ZA is going to have some new Pokemon that's going to instantly be categorized as the 9th generation, and then it's going to go on Pokemon, and then everybody's going to have some shit to talk. In that order, as we often do. However, though, this is where shit gets entertaining. We got Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl, and Legends Arceus, all three within 2 months. Now, I don't know about y'all, but me personally, I did play Diamond, Brilliant Diamond. I'm not going to complain about it. I just enjoyed the nostalgia. But I do know for a fact that when Legends Arceus came out, I can tell you right now, every Pokemon that I did catch in that game, every Pokemon that I did catch in that game, I'm gonna tell you something. Do 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 do, Pokemon Home, do 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 do, put it right in Diamond. Because I'm not gonna lie to you, I used to hate the idea of Pokemon Home, but knowing I can just bring a stronger Pokemon back to back, which is weird because usually you go to a Pokemon Center to get your stronger Pokemon out, but now Pokemon Home is a thing, so you really can just transfer over your Pokemon, which is again, if Pokemon Home had remote play where I could connect to my Switch and bring my Pokemon over and select what game to put them in, that'd be a lot more, it'd be a lot different. I can tell you that right now. So what I guarantee you when the Switch 2 come out, there's not going to be no more OLED, no more Switch Lite, no more Switch Basic base form, none of that. The Switch 2 is going to be the Ultra Instinct of Nintendo handhelds. I can promise you that. I've seen enough of it to know that that game is going to. They are marketing and developing the Switch 2 to combat the Xbox Series and the PS5. And the PS5 and Xbox are both about to be 4 years old this year. So the fact that Nintendo has spent millions on trying to develop this game in the best of ways for y'all. I just say this: kick back and be patient, because I know you PokeTubers are hurting. I know you PokeTubers is fiending right now. Y'all fiending. I understand that, but again, the same thing I tell anybody: the purpose of being a content creator, and I'm gonna get off topic for a split second on this one. The thing about YouTube, and a lot of people seem to forget this, you cannot, and I repeat, if it works for you, which is wonderful, fantastic. It's a lot of PokeTubers out here that are above 100K or 200K or anything like that. This is not that situation. If Pokemon, let's say, for example, 2027 or 2028, let's say Pokemon announces their last game, right? If Pokemon really drops their last game in 2028, PokeTubers are going to fluctuate. Why I say that is because not only will the series be 30 years old at that point, because it came out in 98. Remember that. It came out in 98. The anime, at least. So Pokemon being out for 30 years at that point, the PokeTuber community is going to fluctuate, because you're going to have every single person who has ever played Pokemon within that 30-year gap, playing every single game just to sit there and say, I'm playing this game and I'm going to close this out the proper way. And you got to realize, if Pokemon does decide to last another 7 years, for example, Pokemon will reach a near 40-year lifespan. And if it does live that long, because I know Mario came out in the 80s, so I know for a fact Mario is damn near 50 years old. Damn near 40, actually. I take that back. Mario is damn near 40 years old. But we cannot sit here and tell Nintendo what to do with their content when knowing for a fact they've been doing this shit for almost 30 years. Satoshi Tajiri is almost 60, if not close to 60, if I'm mistaken. He's been doing this shit for 30 years. We lost Akira Toriyama. We lost the creator of Berserk. We lost the creator of Yu-Gi-Oh! Pokemon was there for us during the Dragon Ball Z run, the Yu-Gi-Oh! Run. Like, when you really think about it, the big three in Japan, the real big three in Japan was Yu-Gi-Oh!, Dragon Ball, and Pokemon. Them three right there. That was the big three for a long time. For a long time. The only thing that Pokemon beat Yu-Gi-Oh! By is the fact that they keep making shit. Yu-Gi-Oh's not going to make nothing else. Yu-Gi-Oh's gone. Yu-Gi-Oh! is dead at this point. If they make anything else, it's going to be nothing short of a tribute to the creator. If Dragon Ball Z make anything else, it's going to be a tribute to the creator because again, the big three is gone. It's over. But at the same time, the same thing I tell everybody: a series never dies. If you a series only any prime example series only dies when you forget about it. Nobody's gonna forget about Pokemon in 10 years. Nobody forgot about Pokemon 10 years ago. Pokemon is almost 30 years old right now. So it's like nearly 3 decades, and Pokemon has not been forgotten. It has not been looked at negatively. It has not been thrown out in a dumpster with the rest of our childhood memories or anything of that nature. But it's the fact that we need to have this conversation needs to be had with a lot of people. With a lot of people, bro. I feel personally the Pokemon community is eating right now. We're eating. We are eating. And I'm not even dignified. I'm not classifying myself as a PokeTuber because I don't. Because I don't see it. I don't see a need to. Because if the Pokemon series ends today or tomorrow, that content is retired in 5 years. You feel what I'm saying? That's why you got to keep shit fresh. The same. That's what Nintendo looks at it as. They don't want their fans to forget about a Pokemon game in 5 years. You have niggas still talking about Heart Gold and Soul Silver. You got niggas that's still talking about Fire Red and Leaf Green. And Fire Red and Leaf Green came out in the 2010s. Black and White came out in 2012. And then Black and White came out in 2011. And Black and White 2 came out a year after. So let's not act like Nintendo don't do this back-to-back stuff, because they do. And the fact that we did get 3 Hoenn games within 2 months of each other. 2 months. And as a matter of fact, Brilliant Diamond and Pearl came out November 17th of 2021. Okay. Pokemon Legends Arceus came out January 28th of 2022. 2 months. Literally 2 months. Because here's the thing, and some of y'all probably already know this. Legends Arceus was supposed to come out in December, but they pushed it back because the promotion for Brilliant Diamond and Pearl was supposed to come out. Originally, Brilliant Diamond and Pearl was not even supposed to be a thing at all. In fact, Legends Arceus was actually supposed to be Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. They were going to make the Diamond and Pearl remakes open world. Which, again, don't get me wrong, new Pokemon, that's cool. No issue here. But at the same given, I don't mind the regional variants anymore. I used to hate them. I used to hate seeing them. I used to hate seeing people use them. But they grew on me, just like Mega Evolution grew on me. Like, when you really think about it, Nintendo has always made Pokemon a legitimate staple in the lives of millions. So honestly, I'm gonna put this time lapse out for y'all. Legends ZA, March of next year. March. Switch reveal, June. 2025 World Championship, that's in August. Switch 2 release, December. April 2026, Gen X reveal. November of 2026, Gen X release. Because it's unlikely that Generation X, Pokemon Gen X, is going to come out before the World Championship of next year. And I'm still going to sit there and say it's a possibility that Legends ZA and Pokemon Gen X are going to come out in the same year. It's not impossible. I wouldn't rule it out. I say it for what it is. It is what it is. But that's enough of me yammering. I hope y'all have a blessed one. Stay peaceful. Love yourselves. Love each other. And be careful outside. Do what you got to do. Stay dangerous.